खर्च हुआ और आने वाले साल में 48,000 होगा।
ये परंपरा नहीं है। You know better. This is not the method. This is not the way.
The initiative, madam,
We are talking about the rural employment, not political unemployment.
the initiative to geotag all Manrega assets and putting them in public domain has established greater transparency. We are also using space technology in a big way to plan Manrega works. The Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana is now being implemented as never before. The pace of construction of the PMGSY roads has accelerated to 133 kilometers road per day in 2016-17, as against an average of 73 kilometers per day during the period 2011-14. We have also taken the task of connecting habitations with more than 100 persons in the left-wing extremism affected blocks. We have committed to complete the current target of PMGSY by 2019. I have provided 19,000 crores in 2017-18 for this scheme. Together with the contribution of the states, an amount of 27,000 crores will be spent on PMGSY in 2017 and 18. We propose to complete 1 crore houses by 2019 for the houseless and those living in Kacha houses. I have stepped up the allocation for the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana Gramin from rupees 15,000 crore last year to rupees 23,000 crore in the next year. We are well on our way of achieving 100% village electrification by 1st May 2018. An increased allocation of rupees 4,814 crore has been proposed under the Deen Dayal Upadhyaya Gram Jyoti Yojana for 2017 and 18. I have also proposed to increase the allocation of the Deen Dayal Antyodaya Yojana National Rural Livelihood Mission for promotion of skill development and livelihood opportunities for our people in the rural areas to 4,500 in 2017-18. The allocation of the Prime Minister's employment generation and credit support schemes has been increased more than 3 times. The Swachh Bharat Mission has made tremendous progress for promoting safe sanitation and ending open defecation. Sanitation coverage in rural areas has gone up from 42% in October 2014 to about 60% now. 18% बढ़ा है. Open defecation free villages are now being given priority for piped water supply. We propose to provide safe drinking water to cover 28,000 arsenic and fluoride affected habitations in the next 4 years. There will be a sub-mission for the National Rural Drinking Program. For imparting new skills to people in the rural areas, mason training will be provided to 5 lakh persons by 2022, with immediate target of training of at least 20,000 persons by 2017-18. Panchayat Raj institutions still lack the human resources for implementing developmental programs. A program of human resource reforms for results will be launched in 2017-18 for this purpose. The government will continue to work closely with the farmers and the people in rural areas to improve the life and the environment. This is a non-negotiable agenda for our government. The total allocation for rural, agricultural and allied sectors for 2017-18 is a record 1,87,223 crores, which is 24% higher than the last year. Youth. Let me now focus my proposals on the youth. Quality education will energize our youth. In the words of Swami Vivekananda, the education which does not help the common mass of the people to equip them to struggle for life, is it worth the name? We have proposed to introduce a system of measuring annual learning outcomes in our schools. Emphasis will be given on science education and flexibility in curriculum to promote creativity through local innovative content. An innovation fund for secondary education will be created to encourage local innovation for ensuring universal access, gender parity, and quality improvement. This will include an ICT-enabled transformation. The focus will be the 3,479 educationally backward blocks. In higher education, we will undertake reforms in the UGC. Good quality institutions would be enabled to have greater administration and academic autonomy. Colleges will be identified based on accreditation and ranking and given autonomous status. A revised framework will be put in place for outcome-based accreditation and credit-based programs. We propose to leverage information technology with the launch of Swayam platform with at least 350 online courses. This would enable students to virtually attend the courses taught by the best faculty, access higher quality reading resources, participate in discussion forums, and take tests and earn academic grades. Access to Swayam would be widened by the linkage with DTH channels dedicated to the education. We propose to establish a national testing agency as an autonomous and self-sustained premier testing organization to conduct all entrance exams for higher education. This would free the CBSE, AICTE and other premier institutions from these administrative responsibilities so that they can focus more on academics. We have a huge demographic advantage. Skill India mission launched in July 2015 to maximize the potential of our youth. The Pradhan Mantri Kaushal Kendras have already been promoted in more than 60 districts. We now propose to extend these Kendras to more than 600 districts across the country. 100 India International Skill Centers will be established across the country. These centers would offer advanced training and also courses in foreign languages. This will help those youth of our country to seek job opportunities outside the country. In 2017-18, we have also proposed to launch the skill acquisition and knowledge awareness for livelihood promotion program Sankalp at a cost of rupees 4,000 crores. Sankalp will provide market relevant training to 3.5 crore youth. The next phase of skill strengthening for industrial value enhancement will be launched in 2017-18 at a cost of rupees 2,200 crores. Strive will focus to improve on the quality and the market relevance of vocational training provided in this. ITIs and strengthen the apprenticeship program through industry cluster approach. A special scheme for creating employment in the textile sector has already been launched. A similar scheme will be implemented for the leather and the footwear sector. Tourism is a big employment generator and has a multiplier impact on the economy. 5 special tourism zones anchored on SPV will be set up in partnership with the states. Incredible India 2nd campaign will be launched across the world. The poor and the unprivileged. Madam, I now turn my proposals to the poor and the unprivileged. Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas begins with the girl child and the woman. Mahila Shakti Kendras will be set up at a village level with an allocation of rupees 500 crores in 14 lakh ICDS Anganwadi centers. This will provide a one-stop convergent support system for empowering rural women with opportunities for skill development, employment, digital literacy, health and nutrition. A nationwide scheme for financial assistance to pregnant women has already been announced by the Honorable Prime Minister on the 31st of December 2016. Under this scheme, rupees 6,000 each will be transferred directly to the accounts of pregnant women who undergo institutional delivery and vaccinate their children. For the welfare of women and children, under various schemes across ministries, I have stepped up the allocation from rupees 1,56,528 crores in the BE of 2016-17 to rupees 1,84,000 crores, 632 crores in 2017 and 18. We propose to facilitate higher investment in affordable housing, and affordable housing will now be given infrastructure status, which enables those projects to avail the associated benefits. The National Housing Bank will refinance individual housing loans of rupees 20,000 crores in 2017 and 18. Thanks to the surplus liquidity created by demonetization, the banks have already started reducing their lending rates, including those for housing. In addition, interest subvention for housing loans has been announced by the Honorable Prime Minister. Poverty is usually associated with poor health. It is the poor who suffer the maximum from various chronic diseases. Government has therefore prepared an action plan to eliminate Kala Azar and filariasis by 2017, leprosy by 2018, and measles by 2020. Elimination of tuberculosis by 2025 is also targeted. Similarly, action has been prepared to reduce the IMR from 39 in 2014 to 28 in 2019, MMR from 167 in 2011 to 13 to 100 by 2018-20. 1.5 lakh health sub-centers will be transformed into health wellness centers. We need to ensure adequate availability of specialist doctors to strengthen the secondary and the tertiary levels of health care. We have therefore decided to take steps to create an additional 5,000 postgraduate seats per annum. In addition, steps will also be taken to roll out the DNB courses in the big district hospitals, strengthen postgraduate training in the select ESI and municipal corporation hospitals, and encourage reputed private hospitals to start the DNB courses. We will work with the state government to take this task forward. The government is also committed to take necessary steps for structural transformation of the regulatory framework of the medical education and practice in India. 2 new All India Institute of Medical Sciences will be set up in the states of Jharkhand and Gujarat. We propose to amend the drugs and cosmetic rules to ensure availability of drugs at reasonable prices, to ensure the use of generic medicines. New rules regarding medical devices will be formulated. These rules will be internationally harmonized and attract investment into this sector. This will reduce the cost of such devices. We have been keen to foster a conducive labor environment wherein labor rights are protected and harmonious labor relations leads to higher productivity. Legislative reforms will be undertaken to simplify, rationalize, and amalgamate existing labor laws into 4 codes: 1 wages, 2 industrial relations, 3 social security and welfare, and 4 safety and working conditions. The Model Shop and Establishment Bill 2016 has been circulated to all states for consideration and adoption. This would open up additional avenues of employment for women. The amendments made to the Payment of Wages Act is another initiative of our government for the benefit of the labor and the ease of doing business. Our government is committed. Our government is giving special importance to the implementation of schemes for the welfare of scheduled castes, scheduled tribe, and minorities. The allocation of the scheduled caste has been stepped up from rupees 38,000 833 crores in the budget estimate of 2016-17 to 52,393. इससे मैडम 35% इंक्रीज एससी एलोकेशन का इस बजट में है. The allocation of scheduled tribes has been increased to 31,920 crores and minority affairs to 4,195 crores. The budget will introduce outcome-based monitoring of expenditure in these sectors by the Niti Aayog. For senior citizens, Aadhaar-based smart cards containing their health details will be introduced. A beginning will be made through the pilot in 15 districts during 2017-18. The LIC will be implement a scheme of senior citizens to provide an assured pension with a guaranteed return of 8% per annum for 10 years. The fifth component of the TEC agenda is infrastructure. Railways, roads and rivers are the lifeline of the country. I feel privileged to present the first combined budget of independent India that includes the railways also. We are now in a position to synergize the investment in railways, roads, waterways and civil aviation. For 2017-18, the total capital and development expenditure of railways has been pegged at 1,31,000 crores. This includes 55,000 crores provided by the government from the budget. Amongst other things, the railways will focus on four major areas. 1. Passenger safety. 2. Capital and development works. 3. Cleanliness. And 4. Financial and accounting reforms. For passenger safety, a rail Sanraksha Kosh will be created, a safety fund, with a corpus of rupees 1 lakh crores over a period of 5 years. Besides seed capital from the government, the railways will arrange the balance from its own resource avenues and other sources. The government will lay down clear-cut guidelines for timeline for implementation of various safety works to be funded from this course. Unmanned level crossings on broad gauge lines will be eliminated by 2020. Expert international assistance will be harnessed to improve safety preparedness and maintenance practices. In the next 3 years, throughout it is proposed to, the throughput is proposed to be enhanced by 10%. This will be done through modernization, upgradation of identified corridors. Railway lines of 3,500 kilometers will be commissioned in 2017-18 as against 2,800 kilometers in 16-17. Steps will be taken to launch dedicated trains of tourism and pilgrimage. Railways have put up joint ventures with 9 state governments. 70 projects have been identified for construction and development. A beginning has been made with regard to the station redevelopment. At least 25 stations are expected to be awarded during 17-18 for station redevelopment. 500 stations will be made differently abled friendly by providing lifts and escalators. It is proposed to feed around 7,000 stations with solar power in the medium term. A beginning has already been made in 300 stations. Work will be taken up for 2,000 railway stations as a part of the 1,000 megawatt solar mission. Our focus is on Swachh Railways. SMS-based Clean My Coach service has been started. It is now proposed to introduce a Coach Mitra facility, a single window interface to register all coach-related complaints and requirements. By 2019, all coaches of Indian Railways will be fitted with biotoilets. Pilot plants for environment-friendly disposal of solid waste and conversion of biodegradable waste and to energy are being set up at New Delhi and Jaipur railway stations. 5 more such solid waste management plants are now being taken up. Today, Indian Railways faces stiff competition from other modes of transport which are dominated by private sector modes of transportation. Transformative measures have to be undertaken to make Indian Railways competitive and to retain their position and preeminence. The following steps will therefore be taken. 1. Railways will implement end-to-end integrated transport solutions for selected commodities through partnership with logistic players who would provide both front and back-end connectivity. Rolling stock and practices will be customed to transport perishable goods, especially agricultural products. 2. Railways will offer competitive ticket booking facility to the public at large. Service charges on e-tickets booked through IRCTC will be withdrawn. Cashless reservations have gone up from 58% to 68%. As a part of accounting reforms, accrual-based financial statements will be rolled out by March 2019. It will now be our continuous endeavor to improve the operating ratio of the railways. The tariffs of the railways would be fixed taking into consideration costs, quality of service, social obligation and competition from other forms of transport. Metro rail is emerging as an important mode of urban transportation. A new metro rail policy will be announced with focus on innovative models of implementation and financing, as well as standardization and indigenization of hard work and software. This will open up new job opportunities for our youth. A new Metro Rail Act has been enacted by rationalizing the existing laws. This will facilitate greater private participation and investment in construction and operation. In the road sector, I have stepped up the budget allocation for the national highways from 57,676 crores in the BE of 16-17 to 64,000 crores in 2017-18. 2,000 kilometers of coastal connectivity roads have been identified for construction and development. This will facilitate better connectivity with ports and remote villages. The total length of roads, including those under the PMGSY, built from 2014-15 till the current year is about 1,40,000 kilometers, which is significantly higher than the previous 3 years. An effective multimodal logistics and transport system will make our economy more competitive. A specific program for development of multimodal logistic parks together with multimodal transport facilities will be drawn up and implemented. Selected airports in Tier 2 cities will be taken up for operation and management in the PPP mode. Airport Authority of India Act will be amended to enable effective monetization of land assets. The resources so raised will be utilized for airport upgradation. For the transport sector as a whole, including railways, road, shipping, I have provided rupees 2,41,387 crores in 2017-18. The magnitude of investment will spur a huge amount of economic activity in the country and create more job opportunities. Telecom sector is an important component of our infrastructure system. The recent spectrum auctions have removed the spectrum scarcity in the country. This will give a major fillip to mobilize broadband and digital India for the benefit of people living in rural and remote areas. Under the BharatNet project, OFC has been laid in 1,55,000 kilometers. I have stepped up the allocation of BharatNet project to rupees 10,000 crores in 17-18. By the end of 17-18, high-speed broadband connectivity on optic fiber will be available in more than 1,50,000 gram panchayats with a hotspot and access to digital services at low tariffs. A DigiGaon initiative will be launched to provide telemedicine, education and skills through digital technology. For strengthening our energy sector, the government has decided to set up strategic crude oil reserves. In the first phase, 3 such reserve facilities have been set up. Now in the second phase, it is proposed to set up caverns at 2 more locations, namely Chandiakahol in Odisha and Bikaner in Rajasthan. This will take our strategic reserves capacity to 15.33 MMT. In solar energy, we now propose to take up the second phase of solar power development for additional 20,000 megawatt capacity. We are also creating an ecosystem to make India a global hub for electronics manufacture. Over 250 investment proposals for electronic manufacturers have been received in the last 2 years, totaling an investment of rupees 1,26,000 crores. A number of global leaders and mobile manufacturers have set up production facilities in India. I have therefore exponentially increased the allocation and incentives of schemes like MSIPs and EDF to 745 crores in 17-18. This is an all-time high. We have also to focus on our export infrastructure in the competitive world. A new restructured central scheme, namely the Trade Infrastructure Export Scheme, will be launched in 17-18. The total allocation, Madam, ये महत्व का विषय है, the total allocation for infrastructure for 2017-18 stands at a record level of rupees 3,96,135 crores. Financial sector. I now turn to the financial sector. The focus of the TEC India agenda in this sector is to build a stable and stronger institution. We will continue with our reform agenda with several measures. The government has already undertaken substantive reforms in FDI policy in the last 2 years. More than 90% of the total FDI inflows are now proposed through the automatic route. The FIPB, the Foreign Investment Promotion Board, has successfully implemented e-filing and online processing of FDI applications. We have now reached a stage where FIPB can be phased out. We have therefore decided to abolish the FIPB in the year 2017-18. A roadmap for the same will be announced in the next few months. In the meanwhile, further liberalization of the FDI policy is under consideration and necessary announcements will be made in due course. The commodities markets requires further reforms for the benefits of the farmers. An expert committee will be constituted to study and promote creation of operational and legal framework to integrate spot market and derivative market for commodity trading. ENAM would be the integral part of such framework. A draft bill to curtail the menace of illegal deposit schemes has been placed in public domain and will be introduced shortly after its finalization. There is an urgent need to protect the poor and the gullible investor from another set of dubious schemes created by unscrupulous entities who exploit the regulatory gaps in the Multi-State Cooperative Society Act of 2002. We will amend the Act in consultation with various stakeholders as a part of our Clean India agenda. The bill relating to resolution of financial firms will be introduced in the current budget session of Parliament. This will contribute stability and resilience to our financial system. It will also protect consumers of various financial institutions. Together with the Insolvency and the Bankruptcy Code, a resolution mechanism for financial firms will ensure a comprehensiveness of the resolution system in our country. I had stated in my budget speech last year that a bill would be introduced to streamline institutional arrangement for the resolution of disputes in infrastructure-related construction contracts, PPP and public utility contracts. After extensive stakeholder consideration, we have decided that the mechanism would be institutionalized as a part of the Arbitration and Conciliation Act 1996. An amendment bill will be shortly introduced in this regard. Cyber security is critical for safeguarding the integrity and stability of the financial system. A computer emergency response team of our financial sector will be established. This entity will ensure work in close coordination with the financial sector regulators and other stakeholders. I have proposed several other measures which are in the financial sector which are given as an annexure to this budget. Listing of public sector enterprises will foster public accountability and unlock the true value of these companies. The government will put in place a revised mechanism and procedure to ensure time-bound listing of identified CPSEs on the stock exchanges. The divestment policy announced by me in the last budget would continue. The shares of railway PSEs like IRCTC, IRFC and IRCON would be listed on various stock exchanges. We seek opportunities to strengthen our CPSEs through consolidation, merger and acquisition. By these methods, CPSEs can be integrated across the value chain of an industry. It will give them capacity to bear high risk, avail economies of scale, take higher investment decisions and create more value for stakeholders. Possibilities of such restructuring are visible in the oil and gas sector. We propose to create an integrated public sector oil major which will be able to match the performance of the international and domestic private sector and oil and gas companies. Our ETF comprising of shares of 10 CPSEs has received an overwhelming response in the recent further funding offering. We will continue to use the ETF as a vehicle for further divestment of shares. Accordingly, a new ETF with diverse CPSEs, stocks and other government holding will be launched in 2017-18. The focus of resolution of stressed legacy accounts of banks continues. The legal framework has been strengthened to facilitate resolution through enactment of the Insolvency Bankruptcy Code and the amendments to the Sarfazi and the DRT Acts. In line with the Indradhanush roadmap, I have provided another rupees 10,000 crores for recapitalization of banks. Additional allocations will be made if required. Listing and trading of security receipts issued by securitization companies and a reconstruction company under the Sarfazi Act will be permitted in the SEBI registered stock exchanges. This will enhance capital flows into securitization industry and will particularly be helpful to deal with bank NPAs. The Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana has contributed significantly to the funding of the unfunded and the underfunded. Last year, the target was rupees 1,22,000 crores was exceeded. For 2017-18, I now propose to double the lending target and set it up at rupees 2.44 lakh crores. Wonderful.